The emergency sensors flared to life across the unified Galactic Council station, bathing the curved walls in pulsing crimson light. Senior Detection Officer Meslor's 4 tentacles stiffened as the readings materialized on her display. The signature was unmistakable, a vessel using primitive fusion propulsion, yet somehow achieving speeds that defied conventional physics. Anomalous craft detected in Sector 7, she announced, her voice carrying across the monitoring chamber. Unknown configuration. No matching registry in the database. The chamber, typically a model of efficient calm, erupted into a flurry of movement. Information specialists from 17 species worked frantically at their stations, multi-limbed appendages dancing across holographic interfaces. Supreme Elder Varna, her ancient frame barely visible beneath ceremonial robes of office, glided to the central platform. The station's artificial gravity accommodated her fragile bone structure, developed over millennia on a low-gravity homeworld. Trajectory? She inquired, her melodious voice belying the tension evident in her luminescent eyes. Directly toward the council hub. Supreme Elder, Meslor responded. Current velocity suggests arrival within 17 standard cycles. General Cross burst into the chamber, his reptilian scales flushed with dark crimson, a physiological response to excitement or anger among the Drakari. Behind him followed Xarlek, the silver-skinned Valfugian diplomat whose species had brokered peace among the founding council races 5,000 years earlier. Initial scans suggest primitive materials and design, General Cross announced, studying the data feeds. His clawed hand tightened around the ceremonial blade at his waist, a gesture not missed by those familiar with Drakari body language. Yet the energy readings are concerning. A 3-dimensional projection of the approaching vessel materialized above the central table. Its design was angular, functional rather than aesthetic, with visible weapon ports and what appeared to be makeshift shield generators grafted onto the hull. Standard greeting protocols should be initiated, Xarlek suggested, his 4 arms making the ritual gesture of peaceful intent. Perhaps they merely seek contact. General Cross hissed, a sound rarely heard in diplomatic settings. That vessel is equipped for warfare, not diplomacy. We should mobilize the defense fleet immediately. The projection rotated, revealing markings on the vessel's hull. Information Officer Prevail gasped, their translucent skin pulsing with rapid color changes, the equivalent of a racing heartbeat among their species. Origin confirmed, they announced. The markings match records from the isolated system designated Sol 3. The inhabitants call themselves humans. A profound silence fell over the chamber. Impossible, Elder Varna whispered. The surveillance outpost near that system reported they were centuries from achieving interstellar travel. The historical archives are being displayed now, Meslor said, her voice unnaturally tight. The central projection shifted to show historical records of human development, their rapid technological advancement, their propensity for warfare, their remarkable adaptability to catastrophic circumstances. Images flashed of human conflicts spanning centuries, primitive at first, then increasingly sophisticated. They've achieved in decades what took other species millennia, General Cross observed, his tactical mind already calculating potential scenarios. Elder Varna's ancient eyes narrowed as she made a decision that would reverberate throughout civilized space. Initiate Emergency Protocol 7, she commanded. Send warning to all council worlds and protectorates. The communication officer activated the Galactic broadcast system, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. Attention all vessels and settlements in council space. This is not a drill. A human warship has been detected approaching central sectors. Exercise extreme caution. Repeat, a human warship is closing in. The diplomatic vessel Harmony moved silently through the void, its crystalline hull refracting starlight into prismatic patterns. Ambassador Talara stood on the bridge, her copper-hued skin shimmering with bioluminescent patterns that betrayed her nervousness despite centuries of diplomatic training. Review first contact protocols once more, she instructed her crew. This species has no prior interaction with non-terrestrial intelligence. Her first officer, a methane-breathing Quarian named Vex, adjusted the environmental controls of his containment suit. The human vessel maintains its course. Estimated intercept in 7 minutes. Hilara nodded, mentally rehearsing the 11,000-year-old greeting ritual that had successfully welcomed 26 species to the galactic community. Initiate standard biometric scan. Low intensity. We must understand their physiological needs before physical meeting. Aboard the used Defiant, Captain Alina Reyes stared at the approaching alien vessel through bloodshot eyes. Sleep had become a luxury during their desperate journey. "It's beautiful," her executive officer, Commander Jackson, whispered beside her. "Like nothing we could have imagined." Reyes nodded, allowing herself a moment of wonder before duty reasserted itself. "Beautiful, but potentially deadly. Maintain alert status. Shields at standby." The bridge crew, selected from Earth's finest, maintained disciplined silence as tension mounted. Most were still processing the reality of first contact after months, believing their mission was likely a final gesture of a doomed species. Lieutenant Santos at Tactical suddenly straightened. "Captain, energy signature detected. They're scanning us." Reyes frowned. "Pattern analysis. Similar to our targeting systems, ma'am. Computer classifies it as weapons grade." The ship's eye flashed a warning across the main display. "Potential hostile intent detected." "Raise shields," Reyes ordered, her voice calm but firm. "Defensive posture only." The Defiance shields, cobbled together from Earth's most advanced technologies, hummed to life, creating a barely visible energy field around the vessel. On the Harmony, alarms blared as sensors detected the unexpected energy barrier. "They've raised defensive shields," Vex reported, confusion evident in his modulated voice. "Technology inconsistent with their development stage." Hilara's patterns pulsed with concern. "Increased scan intensity. We need to understand their capabilities." The Harmony's primary scanner emitters brightened, focusing concentrated beams on the human vessel. Inside the Defiant, red alert klaxons wailed. "They've intensified the scan," Santos reported. "It's penetrating our outer shield layer." "Weapons systems online," Reyes commanded. "Target their scanning array only." She activated communications. "This is Captain Alina Reyes of Earth Vessel Defiant to approaching ship. Your scanning procedure is being interpreted as hostile. Cease immediately, or we will take defensive action." The transmission reached the Harmony, but cultural algorithms struggled to interpret the nuanced warning. "They appear agitated," Vex noted. "Biosigns indicate stress responses." Hilara hesitated. The standard protocol dictated continuing scans to ensure proper environmental preparation. "Maintain scan. They must understand our peaceful." Her words were cut short as a precision energy pulse from the Defiant struck the Harmony's primary sensor array. The shot was surgical, disabling the scanning equipment without threatening life support or propulsion. "Evasive maneuvers," Hilara ordered, her patterns now flashing chaotic colors of alarm. How could they target so precisely with such primitive technology? The Harmony veered away, its damaged systems sparking. The bridge crew stared in shock at sensor readings showing the human vessel had weapons technologies theoretically impossible for their development stage. "Return to Council space immediately," Hilara commanded. "The humans are far more dangerous than anticipated." As the Harmony retreated, Captain Reyes watched with a mixture of regret and resolve. "They're withdrawing, Captain," Commander Jackson reported. Reyes nodded grimly. "We didn't come all this way to start a war. Prepare a comprehensive first contact package. Cultural, linguistic, scientific, and our plea for help. Maybe they'll listen before they decide to destroy us." The council chamber erupted into chaos as the Harmony limped into dock. Damage reports scrolled across multiple screens while medical teams rushed to treat crew members suffering from system failures. Ambassador Hilara entered the chamber directly from decontamination, her copper skin still showing distress patterns. "They fired upon a diplomatic vessel," General Crows roared. pounding his scaled fist against the ancient table. The impact caused ripples in the liquid crystal surface, disrupting several data displays. This provocation demands immediate military response. Supreme Elder Varna raised a weathered hand, instantly silencing the chamber. Ambassador T. Lara will provide her direct account before any action is considered. Delara stepped forward, her movements deliberately measured. The human vessel demonstrated technology far beyond what their developmental stage should permit. Their targeting systems achieved precision our own military vessels would struggle to match. Before she could continue, the chamber's communication system overrode security protocols. Every screen simultaneously displayed the same image: a human female with olive skin, dark hair pulled back severely, and eyes that reflected exhaustion but burned with determination. "This is Captain Elena Reyes of the United Earth ship Defiant. I apologize for the forceful introduction, but your vessel's scans triggered our defensive protocols." Gasps echoed through the chamber as the translation matrix rendered her words in all 17 council languages simultaneously. "How did they access our secure network?" Security Chief Mullen demanded, 6 fingers flying across his console. Rice continued, unaware of the confusion she had caused. "We did not cross half the galaxy to start a war. We came because Earth is dying." The feed shifted to astronomical imagery, showing a stellar anomaly, a black void surrounded by distorted spacetime. Scientific notation scrolled alongside the visuals, detailing gravitational measurements and trajectory predictions. 3 months ago, our deep space telescopes detected this rogue black hole on a collision course with our solar system. It will pass through our outer planets before grazing our sun, causing catastrophic gravitational disruption. Conservative estimates give Earth's population 4 months before complete extinction. The chamber fell silent as the gravity of the situation registered. Senior Science Officer Zilthran, a spindly Arthropian, rarely moved to emotional displays, tapped rapidly on his analysis terminal. His compound eyes widened as data streamed in. "Supreme Elder," he chittered urgently, "the astronomical data is consistent with our own records of this sector. The anomaly exists." And he hesitated, mandibles clicking nervously. Analysis of their propulsion signature indicates they have somehow harnessed dark matter energy. That's how they crossed such distance rapidly. General Krause's eyes narrowed suspiciously. Or it's an elaborate deception. A primitive species suddenly develops interstellar travel and weapons that can penetrate our shields. They claim imminent destruction yet arrive in a warship. The transmission continued as footage showed massive evacuation centers on Earth, construction of underground shelters, and scientists working frantically on solutions. "The Defiant carries Earth's best technologies and brightest minds," Rise explained. "We equipped it with every defensive capability we could manage because we had no idea what we would encounter. But our mission is simple: find advanced civilizations who might help save our world." Her image returned, eyes directly addressing the council. "We request permission to present our situation in person. We come seeking assistance, not conquest." The feed ended, leaving the chamber in stunned silence. Supreme Elder Varna turned to her advisors. "Verify their claims, and prepare for unprecedented diplomatic contact." She looked at General Krause, whose scales still flickered with distrust. "We will hear them out before rendering judgment, but maintain defensive readiness. After all, the humans have proven themselves full of surprises." Captain Rice stood alone in the center of the council chamber, a solitary figure on the ancient circular platform. The gravity felt slightly heavier than Earth standard, not enough to impair, but sufficient to remind her she stood on foreign ground. 17 tiers rose around her, each holding representatives of civilizations that had mastered interstellar travel when humans were still discovering fire. She had chosen her appearance carefully. Formal dress uniform, meticulously pressed despite months in space, hair pulled back in a regulation bun, boots polished to a mirror shine on the transport shuttle. No weapons, as requested. The only technology she carried was a small data projector approved by Council security. Supreme Elder Varna's voice carried effortlessly across the chamber. Captain Elena Reyes of Earth, you stand before the unified Galactic Council. In 10,000 years, no species has approached us as yours has, armed, unannounced, and claiming imminent destruction. Reyes nodded once, maintaining perfect posture. With respect, Elder, desperate circumstances required unconventional measures. So explain these desperate circumstances, General Cross interjected, his reptilian eyes unblinking. Convince us this is not an elaborate pretext for expansion. Reyes activated the projector. A holographic display materialized, showing Earth, a blue-green sphere suspended in darkness. The Defiant carries 137 souls, she began. Scientists, engineers, diplomats. The brightest minds Earth could spare. The rest of humanity works to buy us time. The hologram shifted to show massive construction projects, orbital platforms positioning themselves between Earth and the approaching anomaly, underground shelters being excavated beneath mountain ranges, evacuation centers processing millions of civilians. We've never encountered advanced alien life before. Our weapons are defensive because we feared what we might find. She met General Cross's gaze directly. Your concerns are justified. Human history contains countless wars. We've nearly driven ourselves to extinction more than once. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Reyes continued, her voice unwavering. But those struggles taught us to survive against impossible odds. We've split the atom, mapped our genome, and walked on our moon within a single century. When faced with extinction, we channeled that same determination into one final effort, the Defiant. A hologram showed the ship's construction, a global collaboration unlike anything in human history. Our scientists theorized that manipulating dark matter could achieve faster than light travel. No one believed it would work. The Defiant was launched with enough supplies for a one-way journey and no guarantee of finding help. Senior Science Officer Zilthrin leaned forward. Your dark matter technology. Our preliminary analysis suggests it's fundamentally different from our approach. Reyes nodded. Human physics developed, unconventionally. We discovered quantum mechanics before fully understanding classical mechanics. Our theoretical models often precede our engineering capabilities. A low-pitched hum emanated from the Quarian delegation, their species equivalent of thoughtful consideration. Unexpectedly, Councillor Xarlek rose from the Valfusion section. His silver skin reflected the chamber's light as he addressed his peers. I have analyzed their transmission data extensively, he announced. Their planet has united despite historical divisions to face this threat. Their approach to physics, while chaotic by our standards, has produced innovations our linear thinking never considered. General Cross snorted dismissively. Are we to surrender our technological advantage to a species known primarily for warfare? We're not asking for your technology, Reyes interjected. Just your help in saving our world. In return, humanity offers its full cooperation and peaceful integration into galactic society. As debate erupted among council members, General Cross discreetly activated his personal communicator. His adjutant's voice responded immediately. Your orders, General. Prepare Strike Team Alpha, he whispered. Target. The human vessel. Authorization. Security Protocol Omega. And the Council's decision, sir. Cross watched Reyes, standing resolute before the Council. The Council deliberates. I act to protect. Lieutenant Commander Sofia Ramirez paced the Defiance bridge, the responsibility of command weighing heavily during Captain Reyes' absence. The skeleton crew maintained vigilant watch, their attention divided between monitoring the alien station and running diagnostics on systems stressed by their interstellar journey. Communications. Any update from the captain? Ramirez asked, her voice betraying a hint of anxiety. Lieutenant Chen shook his head. Nothing since the initial check-in, Commander. The council chamber apparently blocks transmissions. Probably so they can eliminate visiting delegations without anyone knowing, muttered Chief Engineer Petal from his station, only half joking. Ensign Davis at sensor control suddenly straightened. "Commander, energy fluctuations detected near the outer defense perimeter." "Analysis," Ramirez demanded, instantly alert. "Consistent with cloaking technology, ma'am." 3 signatures. No, wait, 4 distinct vessels. The tactical display updated to show ghostly outlines, where sensor readings indicated distortions in space. Before Ramirez could respond, the outlines solidified into 4 warships, their angular designs distinctly different from the Council Station's organic architecture. Drakari vessels, Davis identified from their database. Military class. Red alert. Battle stations. Ramirez ordered as the first energy blast struck the Defiance starboard shield. The bridge lighting shifted to emergency red as crew members rushed to their positions. "Shields holding at 87%, reported Tactical Officer Wong. "They're using some form of phased energy weapon our shields weren't designed to counter." Another blast rocked the ship. 73%, Wong updated grimly. Ramirez opened a ship-wide channel. "All hands, this is Commander Ramirez. We are under attack by Council forces. Implement Defense Protocol Echo." She turned to Wong. "Target their weapons systems only. Precision strikes." "Ma'am?" Wong questioned, surprise evident in his voice. "Those are my orders, Lieutenant," Ramirez confirmed, her jaw set determinedly. "Captain Rice came to save lives, not take them. We'll defend ourselves without escalation." The Defiant banked sharply, executing a maneuver that seemed to confuse the Drakari targeting systems. Thrusters fired in patterns no conventional craft would attempt, the ship's structural integrity field straining to compensate. "Fire," Ramirez commanded. The Defiant's main weapon array discharged with surgical precision, striking the lead Drakari vessel's primary weapons node. The energy beam penetrated their shields at exactly the frequency needed to disable without destroying. In the council chamber, the emergency alert interrupted proceedings. Massive screens displayed the ambush in progress. "What is the meaning of this?" demanded Supreme Elder Varna, rising from her seat in fury. All eyes turned to General Cross, whose scales darkened with color. "A security precaution," he stated unapologetically. Their vessel posed an imminent threat. Captain Rice watched in horror as her ship came under attack. "You authorized this without council approval." On screen, the Defiant executed a diving roll between 2 Drakari vessels, causing their weapons fire to strike each other. A precise shot disabled the 3rd ship's propulsion system. "Impossible," whispered a Tellarite observer. "That maneuver should tear their hull apart." The final Drakari ship attempted to retreat, but a calculated shot from the Defiant disabled its primary power conduits. The communication system chimed as Commander Ramirez established contact. "This is Commander Ramirez of the UES Defiant. Your vessels have been disabled but not destroyed. Crews should be unharmed. We await explanation for this unprovoked attack." The chamber fell silent. Captain Reyes stepped forward, addressing the council with quiet dignity. "Your general just violated interstellar diplomatic protocols that even we primitive humans understand. I authorized defensive measures only. We could have destroyed those vessels but chose not to." Her eyes met Krause's without flinching. "Now, can we please return to discussing how to save my planet? Or should I recall my crew and seek help elsewhere?" Supreme Elder Varna turned to General Krause, ancient wisdom and newfound respect mingling in her expression. "The humans show restraint when we showed none," she observed. "Perhaps we have misjudged which civilization here is truly advanced." The massive research station orbiting Jupiter glowed against the gas giant's swirling storms. Constructed in record time using council technology, the facility represented humanity's last defensive position before Earth. Inside the central laboratory, tensions ran high despite the collaborative mission. Dr. Hiroko Yamamoto, Earth's leading theoretical physicist, stood before a transparent partition covered in equations. Her old-fashioned marker squeaked against the surface as council scientists watched with poorly concealed skepticism. "Your approach is fundamentally flawed," stated senior theoretician Vox Null, his crystalline form refracting light as he moved. "You cannot alter a black hole's trajectory with conventional gravity manipulation." Yamamoto continued writing without interruption. "Conventional, no. But we're not using conventional methods." She completed a final equation and stepped back. The alien scientists studied her work, their expressions shifting from dismissal to confusion to reluctant interest. "This violates 3 fundamental laws of gravitational physics," protested assistant theoretician Pelks. "Only according to your model," Yamamoto countered. "Humans developed quantum mechanics before fully understanding classical mechanics. We make intuitive leaps because we have to." She gestured to the station window, where Earth was visible as a pale blue dot in the distance. "My civilization has weeks left. We don't have time for incremental progress." In the engineering bay, similar scenes played out as human and alien technicians attempted to integrate wildly different technological approaches. Council engineer Zilveros monitored the prototype gravity deflector with mounting frustration. "The power curves are incompatible," he insisted to his human counterpart. "Your dark matter containment will destabilize under these conditions." Engineer Miguel Santos nodded, wiping sweat from his brow. "You're right. So we need to build an interface that doesn't exist yet." He rummaged through a container of spare parts, selecting components apparently at random. "Let me try something unorthodox." From the observation deck, Captain Rice watched these exchanges with Senior Science Officer Zilthran. After the Drakari attack, the Council had approved emergency cooperation, but integration proved challenging. "Your species doesn't approach problems sequentially," Zilthran observed, mandibles clicking thoughtfully. "It's disorderly, but occasionally effective. We call it lateral thinking," Rice explained, "approaching problems from unexpected angles." Below them, the prototype gravity deflector powered up for testing. Both human and alien technicians stepped back nervously. "Initial test commencing," announced the facility's communication system. The device hummed to life, energy readings climbing steadily. For a moment, everything seemed to function properly. Then alarms blared as power surged uncontrollably. "Containment failing," Zilveros shouted. "Emergency shutdown." The shutdown failed as systems locked. Automatic doors sealed, trapping personnel in the test chamber with the malfunctioning device. Without hesitation, Santos dove beneath the control console, ripping open an access panel. Working purely on instinct, he cross-connected components from human and alien technology never designed to interface. "What is he doing?" demanded Zilthran, watching in horror. "Improvising," Rice replied, tension evident in her voice. The energy readings peaked, then stabilized. The alarms fell silent as the device powered down safely. In the sudden quiet, Santos emerged, his face smudged with hydraulic fluid, but wearing a triumphant smile. Later, Council scientists gathered around his jury-rigged solution, studying it with intense curiosity. "This shouldn't work," Zilveros admitted. "It violates our fundamental engineering principles." "But it does work," Zilthran responded. He turned to Captain Rice, who observed the proceedings quietly. "Your species adapts too quickly. Some council members fear what you might become." Rice smiled slightly. "We're just trying to survive the next few weeks. After that, maybe we can talk about becoming something better, together." "An intriguing possibility," Zilthran conceded, though General Kraz would disagree. "The General has reason to be cautious," Rice acknowledged. "But we didn't cross the galaxy to conquer. We came to learn. And to teach, if you'll let us." The command center of Operation Event Horizon buzzed with controlled tension. Holographic displays showed 50 vessels positioned in a precise formation spanning the solar system, each generating a portion of the massive gravity well needed to alter the black hole's trajectory. At the center of it all stood Captain Rice, her uniform crisp despite the weeks of preparation that had led to this moment. "Final position check," she ordered, her voice steady despite the stakes. Status confirmations flowed in from Council vessels and Earth's planetary defense platforms. The operation represented an unprecedented cooperation between species that, just weeks ago, had been on the brink of hostilities. Black hole approaching coordinate marker Epsilon, reported Senior Science Officer Zilthran. Gravitational distortion already affecting outer sensor arrays. Reyes nodded. Initiate primary sequence on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark. Throughout the solar system, 50 ships simultaneously activated their gravity manipulation arrays. The technology, a fusion of Council engineering and human theoretical models, created a complex web of gravitational forces designed to gently nudge the black hole's trajectory away from Earth's solar system. Phase 1 nominal, announced Lieutenant Chen from his station aboard the Defiant. Gravitational mesh stabilizing. For 3 hours, the operation proceeded with textbook precision. The black hole began its subtle course correction, responding to the carefully calibrated forces. Relief was just beginning to show on the faces of the command crew when a priority alert sounded. "Captain," Chen called out, alarm evident in his voice. "The Celestial Harmony is reporting critical power fluctuations." The Celestial Harmony, a key Council vessel positioned at a crucial juncture in the formation, appeared on the main display. Energy readings fluctuated wildly as the ship struggled to maintain its contribution to the gravitational mesh. "Containment systems failing," came the distress call. "Estimate complete power loss in 4 minutes." Reyes assessed the situation instantly. If the harmony failed, the carefully balanced gravitational forces would collapse, potentially accelerating the black hole toward Earth rather than diverting it. "All vessels, maintain positions," she ordered. Then, turning to her bridge crew, "Prepare to move the Defiant to position Gamma 6. Commander Ramirez looked up sharply. "Captain, our shields can't withstand those gravitational forces." The Defiant wasn't designed for. "We don't have a choice," Reyes cut her off. "Divert all power from weapons to shields. We need 8 minutes at that position to complete the deflection." The Defiant broke formation, engines straining as it accelerated toward the failing Council ship. On board, emergency protocols activated as the crew prepared for what might be a suicide mission. "Evacuate non-essential personnel to escape pods," Reyes ordered. "Anyone who stays does so voluntarily." Not a single crew member left their post. The Defiant slid into position just as the Celestial Harmony systems failed completely. Immediately, the human vessel was subjected to gravitational stresses far beyond its design parameters. "Hull integrity at 70% and falling," reported Chief Engineer Patel, his voice strained. "Structural reinforcements on decks, 3 through 7 failing." The bridge lighting flickered and dimmed as power rerouted to maintain shields. Warning klaxons blared as life support systems failed deck by deck. "Maintain position," Reyes ordered, blood trickling from her nose as artificial gravity fluctuated wildly. Her vision blurred, but she remained standing, a physical manifestation of humanity's refusal to yield. 5 minutes remaining, Chen announced, his console sparking from power surges. "Hull integrity critical," Patel warned. "We can't hold much longer." Just as structural collapse seemed imminent, 3 sleek vessels appeared, their silver hulls gleaming against the darkness of space. They formed a protective triangle around the Defiant, their advanced shields helping to distribute the crushing gravitational forces. Zarlek's voice broke through the static. "The Council finally voted unanimously on something, Captain. Humanity deserves to live." Together, they completed the gravity manipulation, sending the black hole veering safely away from Earth's solar system. As the operation concluded successfully, Reyes slumped into her chair, exhausted but triumphant. "Inform Earth," she ordered with a weak smile. "Tell them humans aren't the only ones who know how to save a world." 6 months after Operation Event Horizon, the observation deck of the newly christened starship Horizon hummed with anticipation. The vessel represented a true fusion of technologies, its graceful lines and powerful systems a testament to what cooperation could achieve. Representatives from Earth and the Council races filled the spacious chamber, their diverse forms creating a living mosaic against the backdrop of stars. Captain Elena Reyes, now wearing the formal uniform of Earth's first ambassador, approached the podium. The months of recovery and diplomacy had restored her physical health, but her eyes still carried the weight of their near extinction. 6 months ago, she began, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber. Humanity stood at the precipice of oblivion. Today, we stand as partners in an exploration. Light from a nearby nebula cast multicolored patterns across the assembled delegates, a fitting visual metaphor for the diversity now united in common purpose. The path that brought us here was not straight or simple. Rice continued. Fear and mistrust nearly derailed our mission before it began. She gestured toward General Cross, who stood rigidly among the Drakari delegation. Despite his attempt at stoicism, his scales betrayed a hint of discomfort at being singled out. General Cross taught humanity an important lesson about fear, Rice said, surprising many with her words. We understand fear intimately. It's driven much of our history. The fear of the unknown, the fear of extinction, the fear of those different from ourselves. Cross reluctantly joined her at the podium when she beckoned. And from the Council, we've learned about unity across differences, Rice continued, about the potential of diverse perspectives joined in common cause. She extended her hand in the human gesture of friendship. After a moment's hesitation, Cross clasped it with his scaled hand. The symbolic gesture drew appreciative murmurs from the assembled delegates. Supreme Elder Varna activated a holographic display on the main view screen. The words "the human approach" appeared, followed by a formal definition. Creative solutions when standard protocols fail. This new protocol has been added to all Council operational guidelines, the Elder announced, a recognition that sometimes unorthodox methods yield remarkable results. Dr. Yamamoto and Engineer Santos, seated among Earth's delegation, exchanged satisfied glances. Their unconventional approaches had become celebrated examples of human ingenuity throughout Council space. As the ceremony neared conclusion, a junior communications officer rushed into the chamber, pausing respectfully before approaching the Supreme Elder. He whispered urgently in her ear, causing her ancient eyes to widen. The Elder addressed the assembly. We have received a distress call from beyond the Perseus Arm. An unknown force is destroying entire star systems at the edge of charted space. Silence fell as the implications registered. Such a threat would once have caused panic, possibly even the abandonment of outlying colonies. The Elder turned to Captain Rice with newfound respect. Once, such news would have terrified us into isolation. Now we respond differently. She activated the Interstellar broadcast system, her voice calm and confident. Attention all galactic sectors. A joint Council human task force is being dispatched to investigate the Perseus threat. The UES Horizon will lead the expedition. The Elder paused, then added what would become historic words. Take heart. A human warship is closing in to help. As delegates dispersed to prepare for this new challenge, Tarek approached Rice. It appears, Captain, that what we once feared most about humanity, your adaptability and determination, may be precisely what the galaxy needs now. Rice smiled, gazing out at the stars that once seemed so unreachable. We came seeking salvation, she replied. We found purpose instead.